You are listening to the Fantasy Fix with Walton Spurlin. Walton, welcome, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's awesome to be back on your show. Looking forward to bringing forth that fantasy football information that everybody's looking for and representing, of course, Pro Football Focus. And thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem, man. All right, so we are 2 weeks into football season, and things. It was a pretty exciting week last week for sure. Lots to talk about. What were some of your biggest surprises that you got out of last week, fantasy football wise?
Well, I think we've got to start off with the man that's rocking the fantasy world early in the season, and that's Fitzmagic there, Ryan Fitzpatrick in Tampa Bay. That's probably the most surprising thing. And obviously Patrick Mahomes is really lighting things up in Kansas City as well. But what Fitzpatrick's doing is really remarkable considering where he's at in his career, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Jameis Winston comes off suspension.
Do you think that Fitzpatrick should keep his job, or is Jameis Winston established enough that he shouldn't be set back to the bench when he does come back from suspension?
That's very interesting. I had a lot of conversations over the week about that with other people, and if Fitzpatrick continues to play the way he's playing, then yes, I think he should. You don't want to rock the boat, especially if you're Tampa Bay. You want to make the playoffs. You want to make the push, and things are working, and he seems to really have taken control of that team, wearing Deshaun Jackson's outfit after the game. But I want to put the caveat in that, and you've been playing this game for a long time, Tom. I've been playing this game for a long time. We know who Ryan Fitzpatrick is. He's very inconsistent, not only from a week-to-week basis, but sometimes from a year-to-year basis. So he's going to have a down week coming up. I can guarantee it. It's just in his DNA. But right now, obviously, you want to ride a hot hand with Fitzpatrick if you're the Bucs and you're a fantasy owner, especially in, I believe they have the Steelers this week. Yeah. As I look at things here, and the Steelers just got lit up by Mahomes, and you ride him right now, but you just be ready to pull the plug because that's what Fitzpatrick does.
Now, on the other side of that coin, you have a guy like Fitzpatrick, who you say is pretty inconsistent, and he's been in the league for a very long time, and he's basically a career backup. And the other guy that you had mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, is this a guy? Do you think this is? Do you think he's the real deal, or is this like a flash in the pan type thing where he's just kind of in the right system and the league hasn't really figured him out yet? And this is, or can he? Obviously, he's not going to throw 6 touchdowns every week, but can he? Is he a guy that can keep up this type of pace though?
I honestly think he is. I think he's the real deal, and I think the first indication of that was the fact that the Chiefs were willing to trade Alex Smith, who was coming off a career year. Andy Reid knows quarterback. That's one thing, and he's had some good ones over the years. And obviously, he saw something in Mahomes, in practices and preseason, and the one start that he had last year that Andy Reid was comfortable saying we can cut ties with Alex Smith. Again, coming off a career year, we've got a kid who's got a cannon for an arm. And as you mentioned, though, we talk about the system. The system fits, and they've kind of switched it to help with him. Now they're a default threat, but he's got playmakers at every position that you want for your quarterback to be successful. He's got a really good running back in Kareem Hunt. He's got one of the league's best tight ends, Travis Kelce. He's got Tyreek Hill, who's just all-world speed that can turn any reception into an 80-yard touchdown. And Sammy Watkins is gelling a little bit with him. So I think Mahomes is the real deal. Again, he's going to cool off. Teams, you could say are going to try to put a cap on the defense to keep Hill and guys from getting those long touchdowns. But that's easier said than done, again, when you're facing the speed that Hill brings. So I just think, I think they looked and said, this kid can do it. We can cater our offense around him. He's got the weapon. So, no, I think it's a real deal. He will cool off some. He's not going to He got 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions right now.
Yeah, it's
so,
ridiculous.
Obviously you can't keep that up. Well, let's remember, it wasn't too many years ago that Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles had, 27 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. So, things can happen. Obviously, Foles, I don't believe, is a Mahomes, but I like Mahomes, and I like him moving forward. I think if you got him on your fantasy team, he's a weekly must-start.
Now, I started him over Stafford in one league and Brady in one league last week and got rewarded handsomely. Who are some guys that you think that might not be on the radar of a lot of people that could have a big week this week?
I think if you look at some guys, let's start in Philadelphia. Obviously, you'll know the name from the Super Bowl, but Corey Clement is likely going to be their number 1 running back this week. Jay Ajayi is not practicing. Sproles is not practicing. Yeah, there'll be a little bit bigger role for Wendell Smallwood, but I think there'll be a lot bigger role for Corey Clement. And I think what he flashed in the Super Bowl, give him the chance to get the bulk of the carries, and he's effective in the passing game. I think he's somebody that we really want to keep an eye on. A guy that we know all too well from last week's game, Matt Breida, should have a very good game this week as San Francisco's playing the Chiefs. And I think if you look at the Chiefs' first 2 games, the way teams have attacked them is using their running backs in the passing game. Now, Breida is effective in the passing game for San Francisco, a lot more so than Alfred Morris. In the first 2 games, the Chiefs have allowed 21 receptions for 261 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. So, Matt Breida is somebody we want in our lineup. Not just because he tore up the Lions, but he's going to have an effective week. The undrafted rookie out of Denver, the Philip Lindsay, he is leading the team in carries with 29. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. They're going up against Baltimore. Don't be afraid to start him. And what about the number 1 fantasy tight end in the league right now, who we all predicted, Will Disley, Seattle. There it is. And only again, he has a nice matchup, but also Seattle doesn't have very many weapons. It's not a very good offense. And so obviously they're looking his way quite a bit, and they don't really have any proven receiving options yet. Lockett, who's fast. But besides that, this is a team hurting for weapons. So, you may not know the name, but get him in your lineup. Jesse James had the big week last week for Pittsburgh at tight end. Again, goes up against a Tampa Bay team that has already allowed 20 receptions to tight ends in the first 2 games. So, obviously, Vance McDonald might have something to say about that, but so far it looks like Jesse James has caught the eye of Roethlisberger, so he's somebody that you want to get in there. Don't sleep on Will Fuller now that he's back in the lineup in Houston. He missed week 1, but he had a great rapport with Deshaun Watson last year before Watson got hurt. First came back last week, targeted 9 times, 8 receptions, 113 yards and a touchdown. Will Fuller belongs in the lineup. Kalen Cole just beat up on Pittsburgh. He is the de facto number 1 wide receiver in Jacksonville now, and a passing game that looks to be working. Those are a few names that jump out to me.
Some guys that have not been so great so far this season are a lot of the top picks. I mean, obviously with Le'Veon Bell holding out still, that's taking a toll on a lot of fantasy owners. But guys like David Johnson, who went 2nd or 3rd in most leagues and not doing very well. Ezekiel Elliott, he's doing okay, but he's not really lighting things up the way I think a lot of people thought he was going to so far. Are we just seeing a time where running backs are just not as valuable as people want to believe that they are? Or is this just kind of a fluke thing where these running backs are going to really start taking over here soon?
Yeah, I think that, again, we've just played 2 games. We're only 2 games in, and to me, that's way too early to reach for the panic button. I jotted down a few names, too, that are underperforming, just like you can say standard scoring right around PPR. Jordan Howard, the running back, he's like 29th. Dalvin Cook, 26th. Kareem Hunt, 24th. So I know that concerns owners, but again, I wouldn't press the panic button. But that being said, and you mentioned an interesting name that I want to touch on, there are situations that you want to closely monitor such as David Johnson in Arizona, that is a very, very bad offense. And I just saw on NFL Network they're going to start Sam Bradford again. Tom, this team is averaging less than 50 offensive snaps a game. And if they keep rolling Sam Bradford out there, I think they got shut out last week. I think they scored 6 total points in 2 games. There's 3 and out. So I think the David Johnson situation concerns me. Another dog week, and it's he can't do it himself. I mean, right now you have to start him. You drafted him in the first round, but to me, I give him one more week. And if Arizona looks against the Bears the way they have in the first 2 games, then unfortunately you can try to unload him, but you know what? You're going to get lowballed because everybody else is watching the Cardinals and saying that, as long as I think it's time for them to go ahead and put Rosen in there, but the Johnson situation scares me. Much like, just to touch on it, just another name, Russell Wilson. I know a lot of people might have taken him to be their number 1 quarterback, but as I touched on a little bit earlier, that is an offense bereft of talent, and with a really bad offensive line. He's either getting sacked or running for his life, and then you throw in the fact that they didn't play Chris Carson, the running back, in much of the second half because Pete Carroll said he was tired from special teams. I think that team is in for a long season, and I think Russell Wilson's in for a long season.
Yeah. Speaking of in for a long season, it looks like the Lions are basically imploding here. The game was a little closer than it was last week, so at least that's a step in the right direction, I guess. But again, this team just can't get out of their own way, shooting themselves in the foot. But fantasy-wise, we got some guys that are putting up some real numbers. And one is Stafford. Even though he couldn't hit the long ball, he still ended up with some decent numbers. And I think a big surprise for me, well, it's not really a surprise. It's more like I'm happy to see him finally breaking out here, and it's Kenny Galladay. So what are your thoughts on these Lions from a fantasy aspect?
Yeah, I think you touched on the biggest surprise right now. I think we look at Matthew Stafford, obviously the 5 interceptions. To start things off, it's going to put him behind the 8 a little bit as far as fantasy scoring-wise. But last week, he was kind of the Matthew Stafford that we always see. The Lions may not win, but he's going to throw 300-something yards, maybe 3 touchdowns. But Galladay, boy, let's just hope he can stay healthy, because I believe that's the reason why they're not, haven't re-upped with Golden Tate. I think they're looking to, build around Galladay, and he's, still got Marvin Jones. I think right there we touched on really the only offensive weapons I trust for the Lions: Stafford, Galladay. Galladay now is looking up at the, wide receiver 2, maybe low end 2, high end wide receiver 3 flex position for sure. Just depending if Marvin Jones can start hauling in some more of those contested passes that he used to get. But I would start Galladay, Tate, Jones, Stafford, and to me, I still can't figure out the running back situation in Detroit. I don't know if they can figure it out. I don't really trust that running back situation until it becomes a bit more clear.
I would have to think at some point, very soon, that Kerryon Johnson is going to be the every down back. I just don't understand why they would keep plugging away with LeGarrette Blount when. He's a tough runner, but he's a goal line third down back. He's not an every down back, and I think Kerryon Johnson has the potential to be. We drafted him to be a star for us. Why hasn't that? Is it just that he's a rookie and they want to ease him in, or is something not clicking, or I don't understand what's going on there.
I completely agree with you, Tom. It's a bit of a mystery, like you said. He was brought here to be our number 1 back. And, you touch on LeGarrette Blount. I guess this week, if you wanted to look for an angle, you could say it's a revenge game against his old team, the Patriots. But let's face it, that's the only team that he's ran really well for. He's partly been into some contracts, and ended up getting released by the Steelers halfway through a season, ending up back in New England, where, lo and behold, he played well again. But that's the Patriots. That's not the Lions. Not even the Eagles, where, he got a Super Bowl with the Eagles. I don't think anyone would look back and say, LeGarrette Blount was the reason. Yeah. So I don't get it. the Lions in general, confound me. I would say from a fantasy standpoint, again, when you address the Lions, though, go ahead and start whatever running back's throwing against them until they can figure out how to stop the run. See, because right now, they're one of the most generous teams in handing out fantasy points to running backs. Although this week might be a little more confusing because it's the Patriots, and who knows what they're going to do with the running back.
Yeah, you got a guy over there in Sony Michel, who I think is going to have eventually. I think he's going to take that role over as number one back in New England. That's a guy that I think will probably have a really good week this week against the Lions. Rex Burkhead, he's all right, but I think it's going to be time for Sony Michel to take over pretty soon here.
If he's healthy, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Tom. That he should be the early down back. Obviously, Jeremy Hill's now out for the season with a knee injury, I believe. So if Michel can stay healthy, and he had 10 carries last week, only averaged 3.4 yards a carry. That's okay. He's in it. That's his first game. I kind of looked at it. All you can really guarantee from the New England running back is that James White is their receiving back. He's already got 11 receptions, 111 yards, and a touchdown. I looked at the snaps just to kind of see Michel only got 13, but again, first game back. Coming off an injury. Burkhead has had 52 snaps in the first 2 weeks, and James White leads the running back. He's had 70 snaps, but he's only carried the ball 9 times. Again, he's the receiving option. Right now, Burkhead leads the team in rushes with 24, but like you said, now that Michel's back, I can see that change.
Yeah. It's Tom Brady, a must start this week. He definitely struggled last week, but that was at Jacksonville. Very tough matchup. Coming in Sunday night against Detroit, we don't know about Slay yet. I'm not sure if we know he's going to play or not. He makes a difference, but the defense as a whole is just not looking good as it is. So, do you see Brady just coming in and lighting up the Lions? And is there any reason why you shouldn't start Brady this week?
No, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't roll with Tom Brady against this defense. At Pro Football Focus, I was just checking out our expert consensus rating. He's the number one ranked quarterback for this week. You got an angry Patriots team coming in after a loss. Again, a Lions defense that seems to still be struggling to get the 3-4 down. Guys, I mentioned, I know I keep mentioning James White, but also our linebackers aren't that great in coverage. So they're going to try and single coverage on White with Jared Davis, who he had a couple of sacks last week, but I think it still has trouble getting off blocks. As we mentioned, they can't stop the run. Unfortunately, I see the Patriots rolling this week, and I think putting up very good fantasy numbers. Yeah.
Well, all right, Walton. We'll go ahead and wrap it up here, man. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and we will talk to you again next week.
All right. Good luck, everyone, this week in fantasy.